those fake ones that were getting around about 2 weeks ago?
Are they fake ones?
Yeah, mate, yes. It's a well-known doofus online.
Yeah, well, the bloke that supposedly took them was pretty vague about how he seen them.
Well, he didn't know what he was talking. He was lying through his teeth. He said he flew directly from the USA into Hobart, a direct flight. He's just an idiot. He didn't even know what he was talking about.
Yeah, and then he reckoned he was flying out to USA from Darwin. Well, I don't know about that either.
Yeah, he's just a dickhead. But the guy who was promoting that was the bigger dickhead.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's have a chat.
I just wanted to tell you about up around. I come from up west of Cone.
Yep.
You know where that is?
Yeah, I do. I've been out that way.
Yeah, well, even back before, we used to go out there getting gold out of that creek.
Yeah, right.
And me and my uncle, and he'd seen tigers quite a bit, but all the old bushies, Jack Taylor, the dozer driver, all the logging blokes, the timber cutters, they'd all seen tigers. There was quite a lot up around that area back in the 60s.
Yeah, right.
And my sister, she was in our bus stop down at the road from our house. Actually, the house that's there now,
Yeah.
that's our house.
Okay.
It's actually a new house. The original burnt down, but that's where our house was, on that hill there. It's the last house on that road. And my sister seen, she was in the bus stop when she was 14, the last year of school. And one come along and it sort of stepped half into the bus stop, and she freaked, and she ran straight up to the house and told me mother she just seen this great big yellow dog with a great big mouth and big teeth. So that, I believe, was her sighting of one. But
What year was that?
that would have been 64.
Okay.
Now, I put in that book in Strawn, they started that book called the Tassie Tiger Tales or something.
Right.
I believe there's several copies of now, several books that keep on people putting their stories in it. But I put the first story in the first book in that book.
Righto.
But I only put one story because I'll tell you why in a minute. I used to do a lot of spotlighting out of the back of utes and that. We used to go shooting wallabies, me and mates. And we seen several run across the road on those logging roads out toward the Arthur River.
Okay.
But they were only glimpses.
Yep.
But we knew damn well they weren't wallabies.
Yep.
And we used to listen to them at the farm too. You'd hear this yip, 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 yip. And all the old blokes around, all the old farmers, Jack Loon and the Pinner boys and all them, they'd just say, oh, that's a tiger. That's a tiger barking.
Yep.
And you would not have been able to tell any of those farmers or anyone that worked up there that tigers don't exist. They had all seen them. Now, coming home one night, just up from our house there, the old man pulled up. He had this big Dodge Ute with good headlights, and a female with two pups crossed the road in front of him, right close in front of him. And she got up a bit of a 4-foot bank there, and the pups couldn't get up. They were trying to get up the bank, and he sat there for 2 or 3 minutes watching these pups trying to get up the bank. And eventually they got up. Now, not far from there, just straight opposite our farm, there was a bush track going out on the neighbour's farm over the road, which was all bush, by the way.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday night we used to kill 2 sheep and share meat with the neighbours.
Righto.
They'd share pork with us and beef, and we'd share lamb with them.
Yep.
And my job when I was 16 at this time, 16 and a half, no, just 16. And I used to wheel the wheelbarrow load of offal and the sheep's head and the offal out the track and dump it in a bit of a dirt clearing there.
Okay.
And that week, we had to kill an extra sheep because there was extra people wanted meat.
Righto.
So we did the kill on the Wednesday night. I dumped the offal and heads from 2 sheep on the Wednesday night. But on the Thursday night, I went down there about an hour before dark, and I'm walking out that track with a barrow load of gut from 1 sheep, and I came to that clearing, and here's a ruddy tiger eating that offal, a big bugger. And I carefully put the barrow down behind this pepper bush, and I stood there. This is why I put that story in that book, because I stood there for nearly 20 minutes watching him eating that offal. And he looked up and he looked around, and I got the clearest view, and I studied him from head to tail. I saw all the stripes on him, the thickness of the tail, the straightness of the tail, the big head, the mouth. I seen the whole thing for all that time. And I thought, back in them days, the only cameras were the old brownie box camera, which I had.
Yep.
And I thought, geez, I've got to get a photo of this fella. So I started to step back as quietly as I could. And I'd only moved back about 3 steps, and he spotted something through that pepper bush. And he stood there looking at me, and he kept staring at me, and I thought, God, he spotted me. And sure enough, he did. And he slowly turned around, looked at me again, and then he took off into that bush. Now, at that time, quite a few had seen tigers around there with pups, young'uns, and there was definitely a family of tigers living right there. But there was also a lot of others in the area now.
Okay. Was this in the 50s or the 60s?
That was 1966.
Oh, that's pretty good.
August 66.
Yep.
So they were definitely alive then, and everyone around that area knew about them being alive, and we used to see them out those logging roads when we were spotlighting at night.
Yeah, yeah. So there was still plenty in the area back in the 60s.
Yeah, so I believe there's got to be now, because our house there is the only house that's left up there now. The old township, there was a bloke called Burns that was a manager for Farquhar, B.A. Farquhar.
Yep.
He owned all that land up around there, a lot of land, and this Burns was his manager.
Yep.
And he went in there with a tin of petrol and a stick, and he literally burnt all the mill houses. There was 13 houses and a sawmill and a shop and a service station there when I was a young bloke.
And he burned them all down?
He burnt them all down, the mongrel.
What a dog.
And that's why there's no township there.
Yeah,
now,
right.
There are some remains of it. But all those people had seen tigers.
Yep. Yep.
And even old Jack Loon, you've probably heard some of these names. Jack Loon had a farm around the road, and he had a milking shed there, and he used to separate the cream. You didn't sell your milk them days. You'd sell the cream.
Yep.
And he used to dip all the milk out into a big trough there for the pigs. And on several occasions, old Jack told me that he'd gone out to get the cows in the morning, early morning, just after sunrise, and there'd be a tiger there drinking the milk out of that trough.
But it's funny you say that. I was with a fella in Victoria about 2 weeks ago who gave me an almost identical story from the Southern Grampians. But it was the dog's milk.
Yeah, well, this is sort of, well, I suppose you call it skim milk because it had the cream taken out of it.
Yep.
it used to be good for the pigs. You used to pour a bit of pollard in, mix some pollard in it now and then, but he said this tiger used to come quite often and they'd drink that milk out of that trough.
Wow. That's awesome.
Look, so many people that were there
Yeah.
in that district at that time, I could not have convinced any of them that tigers didn't exist.
Yeah, they all knew, yeah.
They'd all knew, they'd all seen them.
Yep.
Some at a distance, some close up, and particularly the blokes that worked in the forestry. Old Jack Taylor,
Yep.
he used to drive the bulldozer down there, with this owned by B.A. Farquhar, and he, one cold day, he said he got off the dozer, he shut it down, he got off it, and he got in between the radiator and the blade, because the radiator was still giving off a lot of heat, and he sat down in there to eat his lunch. And he said, next thing, this bloody tiger come and put its front two paws up on the side of the blade strut and was watching him eating his lunch.
Huh.
He tried to give it a sandwich, but it got a fright and took off.
Wow.
So, you know, all these things sort of tell you that they weren't exactly scared.
No, they're very quite confident when they want to be. They're just coming straight up and look at you and stare at you.
And the other thing I thought I'd tell you, I mean, I'm an old bloke now, I'm 74, but I'm all convinced, and so was my parents, that what killed off most tigers was not hunters, it's 1080 poison.
Well, there's been a lot of debate about that. And look, I'm dead against 1080, and ideally we would get rid of 1080 and the world would be a better place, yeah?
Yeah, well, Tasmania's the only damn state that still allow it, I think.
No, they all still use it, mate, unfortunately. And the worst part is they drop it from the sky now. They don't even, you know, put it out with a shovel. They throw it out of a helicopter.
They'd make us plough a furrow and then put the poison carrots along in it.
Yeah.
But look, I've seen dogs that eat a poison rabbit, and that poor damn dogs die in agony, and it takes them like 4 to 5 hours to die sometimes.
Yeah, I reckon the 1080 might get a few young'uns, but I don't think an old wise tiger would fall for it. Their sense of smell is so amazing. And like in their nose, their nerve endings, they've got about 20% more nerve endings than a dog.
Yeah.
So their sense of smell is just phenomenal. So, yeah, look, the 1080 is a worry, and that 1080 fox baiting program they had in Tassie for bloody 10 years was obviously a load of bullshit. Yeah, I don't know if 1080 would be wiping them out as much as you might think. I'd like to think that they're a little bit smarter than that. Because if they eat a roadkill, it's got to be fresh. They won't eat a stale one. So if it was a a 1080 setup with a dead animal and they'd put 1080 in it, it'd I reckon they'd smell it. Like if they were deliberately trying to poison them. But yeah, there is the off-target damage with rabbits and stuff as well. So yeah.
Well, that sort of rings a bell with a sheep offal too. That one would only come and he's only eating the fresh offal.
Yeah, he won't touch the old shit.
If we had dead sheep out in the paddock and that, they never sort of got eaten by anything except for hawks and crows.
Yep. Was there many devils around that area back in that day?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Yeah,
I
okay.
used to catch them in rabbit traps. But
okay, yep. They'd come and take your rabbits, wouldn't they?
I tell people now that the only animal I'd ever run across that when you meet them in the bush, they actually come after you. They don't run away.
Huh.
If you startle them, I mean, they...
Yeah. Whereabouts in Queensland are you now, mate?
On the Sunshine Coast at Dickey Beach near Caloundra.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's not a bad area to be in.
It's all right. Good spot. We're
Yep.
just near the beach here, but...
There's plenty of thylacine sightings up that way. You don't have to go too far from there to be in the same areas.
Yeah, well, I've got 118 acres out west a bit, about three and a half hours out west out there. It's bush.
Yep.
And there's all bush around me there, but I've seen a lot of animals out there, but I've yet to see a tiger there.
Yeah, well, never say never. Never say never. I had a sighting reported to me 2 days ago from a lady in Queensland, actually, a nurse from near Canungra, is it, where the army base is?
Yeah.
Out there, near Canungra, and that was only from 2013.
And I still think a lot of people that think they saw a tiger may not have, and they may well have, but they may not have. But if someone like me who's seen them and studied them and had a really, really good look at them, you know when you see one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I wouldn't doubt that for a sec.
I just wish somebody would get some clear damn photos of them.
Mate, I'm trying. I'm giving it everything I got.
Well, you're doing a good job, mate. Keep it up.
Yeah, I won't give up without a fight, that's for sure. I've been doing it for 10 years now.
And I still reckon it might be worth a good look at.
Well, I'll have to get it. I've got a mate out that way. I'll get him to take me out there. Next time I go out and see him, we'll go out there and have a sniff around.
It's easy to find because it's a 12-acre. We had a big property there.
Yep.
But it's only 12 acres of beautiful lush green ground now, and the house is on the hill on the high bank there.
Yep.
And it's the last house.
Yep.
On that road.
Okay.
The very last house on your right. I don't know the people that live there now, but where you come down the driveway from that house,
Yep.
that's where this bush track went straight south from there.
Okay, and that's where they were.
And like 200 metres out that track is where there was this piece of cleared land. It was clear because the dozer dozed dirt from it to put the crossing across the creek there.
Okay.
And nothing on.
Yep.
But I used in the middle clearing every Wednesday night.
And they'd come in for the fresh stuff, yeah. That's awesome. All right.
Alrighty.
Good on you, mate. Really pleasure to hear from you. What was your name again, sorry?
Daryl Coleman.
Daryl, are you okay if I put this out on our YouTube as well?
Yeah, I'm good with it, mate.
All right. I might take out a couple of the details just so people don't get all the facts, but...
A lot of people in that area know me. We were a well-known family there.
Back in the day. What year did you leave, Tassie?
What's that?
What year did you leave?
I got called up for Vietnam in 1969.
Okay.
I went, well,
You ended up in Townsville, did you?
Yeah, I didn't go to Vietnam. I failed the medical, but I moved to Melbourne at the time. I stayed in Melbourne for 16 years and then moved up here.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I'd been back. We went back and toured Tassie, me and my wife, about 6 times.
Oh, yeah.
Every year. Like, we went for 2 weeks and thought, oh, bugger it, there's still so much of it I haven't seen, so we went back for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks in the next few years.
Yep. Oh, well, at least you got a chance to have a good time looking around, taking your time.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I know the place well, and my family would be well known up there. But all those old families, like the Pinners and the Loons, and they're all got relatives around there still. I went to Yolla School.
Yeah, I know where Yolla is.
So I know I had a lot of good mates from there.
Yep. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I've got a friend up at Yolla. So, and another mate down at, what's it called? Elliot, down there.
Yeah, I got old schoolmates down around there.
Yep. Excellent. All right. Well, look, I'll edit this off in a few days. I've got that much editing. Honestly, mate, you're about the 5th interview I've done in 2 days. It's gone nuts at the moment. It's really busy. So, I've done 3 today.
I believe there seems to be more sightings in the last couple of years than there has been for years.
Yeah, I think the numbers are doing quite well, and on the mainland especially. They're in every state on the mainland, and I do believe they always have been. I don't think they were brought back there from Tassie.
Yeah,
That's all bullshit.
For the fact that they run when they do realise you're looking at them or see you, it makes me think they're very elusive animals.
Oh, they're very wily and they're very smart. They're so much smarter than what the old bushies thought they were, I think. I mean, they tricked them with the snares, you know, they got them. But they didn't get them all.
You reckon you ever heard one make that yip, 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 yip?
You'd be pleased to know I've heard that yip about 20, 30 times.
Yeah, well, every time that we'd hear it, we'd be working around the farm or cutting posts or something in the bush, you'd hear it, and all the other old fellas around, old Jack Loon and the Pinner boys, they'd been there for years. I still say their name must have come from pointers, probably descended from original prisoners.
Yep.
But they used to say, the Pinners especially, they used to say, oh, that's a hyena.
Yeah, yeah.
They used to call them hyenas.
Yeah, native hyena, that's right.
And quite a few years, I used to think, oh, there's tigers and there's hyenas, but
they were the one thing, yeah.
I realised they were referring to the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's not the first time I've heard that described or mentioned either. I had a sighting from South Australia from an old gold mine with a couple of young ones in there in the 80s. And they got chased out by a hyena out of an old gold mine in the Adelaide Hills. So...
Well, another thing, when I was walking out Spotlight one night, out that very same track, at almost the same area, wasn't long after that, and I had my black and white cattle dog with me.
Right.
And he was a vicious bugger. I had him for a hunting dog. And he was scared of nothing normally. And I used to carry the Spotlight with a little motorbike battery hanging in a box on me, and the Spotlight, and I had the shotgun in the other hand.
Yep.
And we got to about that same spot, and he come running over, and he dived under me bloody legs, and he was knocking me over.
Yeah, yeah.
Pushing against me. I said, get away, get away.
He's shitting
and
himself.
He had the hair up on his neck, and he's watching into the bush, and whatever it was in there was moving around us in a circle.
Yeah.
And he was watching it, and I couldn't get him away from me legs. So he put the bloody wind up me, I tell you. I fired a couple of shotgun shots in the air, and we made a run for it.
Yeah, no, dogs are well known to be quite scared of tigers. It's not unusual, and horses don't like them either. Horses get really flighty as well when they're around. Awesome. All right, mate. Well, look, thank you very much for your call. I really appreciate your information. It's awesome.
No worries.
Cool.
I enjoy looking at your videos.
No worries. I'll keep them coming.
And sooner or later, they're going to find one, I tell you.
Sooner or later, someone's going to find a dead one, and they're not going to call the Parks and Wildlife Service. They'll call me instead, hopefully.
Yeah, let them call the media first, and then the government can't deny it.
Yeah, they give them something to do. All right, mate. Good on you.
See you, Neil.
Thanks for the call, buddy. Cheers.